Today's message from Reverend Christian Sorensen was recorded June 5th, 2016, and it's titled, Moving Life, subtitled, There is aliveness, flow, and congruence that moves in our lives when we're not trying to move the universe, but are willing to be moved by it. Come visit us at www.seasidecenter.org or join us in Encinitas, California sometime, where great music, a spirited message, and a joyful, loving community always await you.
Feel the joy, feel the peace, and the comfort of home, 'cause all are welcome here. Yes, all are welcome here.
But you know, these two are icons within our movement. You'll find them performing at every conference of the Centers for Spiritual Living for years, and I'm so grateful to have you here. That is Lisa and Erica. Thank you. Oh, so here we go. So here at Seaside, we have been working on this year the wonderful theme of joyous abundance. If you're going to do abundance, you might as well be joy-filled about it. And if you're going to be joyous, you might as well have abundance while you're doing it. So it all makes a lot of sense to me, which is why we are heavily focused on that. And today, or this month within our movement, the Centers for Spiritual Living, the theme is freedom from all discord, which kind of works, right? Freedom from discord. And the particular quote for today is Ernest saying that we believe that we are surrounded by a creative mind that takes the direct impress of our thoughts and acts upon it. And so that's it. We're surrounded by this creative mind. We live and move and have our being within this divine presence, and it is there and is responsive, and you might as well find freedom in it, as opposed to using your power to create discord, disharmony, dis-ease, or whatever other junk you might be creating in your life. I'm here to say you don't need it. Stop it. Get over it, because there's a creative mind that is all for you experiencing this sense of joyous abundance in your life, to be able to walk with the ease and grace, and no matter what issue that is there in your life, you can move through it. And I love the Chinese proverb that talks about the one who wants to remove the mountain just starts by picking up the small stone one at a time, and starts with one stone and moves it out. That's how you do that. If you want to be with this flow of life, you've got to be moving. You know, you can't be in the flow and be stuck. It's like, that's not even an oxymoron. That just doesn't make sense. You know, life is about flow. Life is about movement, which means you got to be moving. And if you got a mountain or an issue in your life, pick up a piece and move it. And I learned this at an early age. When I was a child, probably one of my least favorite things to do, which means it was nowhere near my favorite things to top of my favorite things to do list, was clean my room. You know, it's still not anywhere near the top of my favorite thing to do list. But I'd be ready to go out and play. And what would Mom say? Hey, Christians, you clean your room before you go. And so what I learned at a very early age, which many of us learn, is what I did is I just swept it all under the bed. It worked great. You know, and I never really cleaned it out. So you should have seen the look on my mom and dad's face when they discovered what was underneath my bed. But it's not as if I really got in trouble, because they were like just amused, I think. They got a kick out of finding stacks of books and magazines and toys and stuffed animals and They weren't happy about the plates, but, you know. But eventually it's got to come out from underneath there. You know, there's got to be movement. You got to let the winds of heaven blow through and air out the place, like your soul, your spirit, and your room. And so we think we get over it. But what are we stuffing under our bed today? You know, like, well, I'm going to deal with those hurt feelings later. You know, I'm going to stick my disappointment under the bed there, so I don't really have to look at it now. The anger issues, later. I'm going to take a workshop on that one later. You know, relationship and the inability to communicate at that deep, intimate level, later. And it all goes underneath the bed. And what happens is you can only put so much under the bed before it starts, getting tilted out of shape. You know, life is about movement. You've got to move those things out of your world. But what I came to discover in my meditations is there was part of me that was stuck under that bed. You know, my lower self, the one that would be like upset about the anger, or the one that says, hey, Christian, are you crazy? You know, the one that has that ego, says, don't you want to be out front? Look at me, look at me. My lower self, I would like keep under the bed, and I would keep it chained there. Not chained, but I would, with my look. You know that look? You stay. You know, it just... I had learned to take my lower self and just keep it under the bed so it didn't get me in trouble, that it didn't speak out, that it didn't do what I wanted it not to do. You know, that part, that you know, the ego or the psyche or the lower self, I don't care what you call it, but what I recognize is there was part of me in there that when I began to meditate more and more, I recognized this is kind of sad. Because, you know, that part of me does have feelings. You know, it does think and feel. I remember getting down on my knees, putting my hand and said, come on out. It's okay. Come on out. And I pulled that part of me that I have kept in the shadows and under the bed because it didn't meet my approval. It wasn't like who I wanted to be. But rather than moving through that aspect of myself that I didn't want to own, I hid it away. And it's about rising up. You know, the Bhagavad Gita says, you know, to rise yourself, you move with the self, you don't trample the self. Right? To rise the self, you move up with the self, you don't trample the self. But what I've been doing is trampling. I've been keeping it stuck under the bed. I wasn't allowing it to move. You know, there's nothing wrong with having thoughts in my head that don't meet the self-image I want to be. There's nothing wrong with having thoughts that aren't ministerial. You know, I just don't have to act on them, right? But what happens is rather than dealing with it, we stick it under the bed. Rather than allowing life to move and to cleanse and to clean and let the winds blow through, what happens is I just kind of step on top of it to raise myself. I step up, and now I'm even taller. But you know what? There's part of me that is hidden and is not true and it is not honored. What I want to be is whole. What I want to be is a full expression of myself. I want to be in touch with those feelings of pain or discomfort and take a look at that part that I've hidden away and say, yes, there are feelings there. And there may be value to some of those thoughts that are going on inside. And so I need them to come out. It's safe to come out now. Here's my hand. Come on out. I have this wonderful meditation practice when we're at a ranch in Montana, and Callie got back last night. Welcome home. I missed you. I haven't seen her since. But anyway, we've got this mountaintop, and I'm able to just sit there and watch the lake. And if you stay in your spot, just quiet in your meditative spot, and you just watch the lake, everything eventually comes out to the lake to get some water. You know, whether the deer go down there to drink, or the turkeys go down there to check it out, or the osprey go down there to see if they can catch a fish, or the mountain lion that hangs out on our property decides it wants to drink during the day. I haven't seen this, but even the bears come out. Our neighbors tell me all about the bears that come down there. But what I recognize is my meditation practice is to sit still by the lake and just watch all of those creatures come out. What I can do in my meditation is like sitting at that placid lake and allow everything that has been stuck in the depths of my being that I have not wanted to honor, say, this isn't me. And so rather than allowing it to move through me with life, I step on it and I keep it quiet and I keep it well behaved and under the bed. But what's necessary is to allow those feelings, those concerns, those worries, those expressions, those exotic thoughts, every aspect of myself to be able to look at and say, you know what, this is been moving through me. This is part of my consciousness, at least for a moment, and to allow it to move on out and love it. I mean, I don't have to accept it. I don't have to embrace it. I don't have to act on it. But you know what? It's moving through me. If you're moving through my field of awareness, I love you. Because it's all God, right? Doesn't mean it's mine to do, but it's all God. Maurice Sedek, who wrote Where the Wild Things Are, that was one of the books under my bed. I got it from my godfather in 1963. I looked at it this morning, actually. The inscription was, I hope you go there someday. You know? And but Maurice shares this story of that children send him letters, and he says he does his best to answer all the letters for kids. But there's this one from Jim that touched him very much, that he paused with that one. He wrote him a little note, but he also sketched out a picture of the wild thing and sent it to him. Maurice said that he got a letter from Jim's mom a couple weeks later and said, Jim so loved your sketch that he ate it. Good job. But Maurice said he just so loved that. This kid could care less that I gave him an original drawing of the wild thing. But he loved it so much he wanted to embody it. He wanted it to be part of him. Could you love something so much that you are willing to just embody it to the fullest and allow it to be part of you and to lift you up as opposed to tear you down? Not everything that stirs your soul is yours to do or to be. It's yours to decide what isn't the healthiest choices to partake in and what are. There's this traveling salesman tells the story of going to a small town. And he saw this little old man just rocking on the front porch of the house. This little man he looked so content and happy in a zone. And the salesman was just intrigued by how content he looked. And so he went up to this little old man and said, I just have to ask you, you look so happy. Can you tell me the secret of your longevity and your happiness? And he said, sure. He said, well, I smoke a half dozen packs of cigarettes a day and whatever else burns. I'll drink a quart of bourbon every 4 to 6 hours. I eat whatever I want. I can't even figure out how many cases of beer I drink every week. I go out every night, sleep when I want, get up when I want. And the traveling salesman said, that is wonderful. Can you tell me how old you are? And he said, yeah, I'm 25. I want us to get, you can act on what's moving through your being and your awareness and your desires, but you also get to reap the unfoldment of what your actions are. You get to experience the effects of your thoughts and your consciousness. Cause creates manifestation. Effect follows cause. Form follows consciousness. You get that? That's movement. Life moves. And if you're moving towards joyous abundance, then you will be free from all the discord that has pulled you back, because there is a creative mind that responds to the direct input that you put into it. That is what it does. Ernest Holmes, the founder of our gig, he wrote, I'm sorry, Ernest. It's graduation day. I need to be more reverent for you guys. So Dr. Ernest Holmes, who wrote The Science of Mind, that has become our textbook and became the philosophy known as religious science that we now call the Centers for Spiritual Living. Whose students we are graduating into the ecclesiastical realms today. He said, the pattern of perfection resides in all, and it has never been touched by disease or discord. There's a pattern of perfection that resides in all that has never been touched by disease or discord. There's part of you that has never been violated, is another way he said it. There's part of you that absolutely is of that, but you've got to honor that. You can't fall prey to the glitter and the gold and the sparkles that are out there that seem very tempting. Say, hey, come on, try this. This is going to be really good. If you don't listen, if you don't meditate, you're not going to recognize that, that it doesn't honor you. There's a wonderful story of the emperor of China who had heard of this great master who is a hermit in the northern mountains. And so he sent his ambassadors to go tell this hermit, this master teacher, that he wanted him to be the prime minister of the realm. And so these ambassadors traveled great distance. After days, they finally got to the hermitage, and it was empty. They couldn't find the hermit, but they did eventually find him down by the river, halfway out, sitting on a rock, half naked with a string, fishing. Really? This is the guy, he's looking pretty disheveled if he was wearing clothes. But so they went, they checked with the villagers and said, yeah, that's the great spiritual teacher. So they went, they said, excuse me, and he waded across the river and he came, said, can I help you? And he says, yes, we bring to you a gift from the Emperor of China, who is just in awe of your great wisdom, who would like you to be the prime minister of the realm. He said, prime minister of the realm? They said, yes, your honor, your venerable sir, yes, prime minister. He said, yes. And he said, that emperor's got to be crazy. What is he, out of his mind? And he started laughing. And finally, when he stopped laughing, he said, now doesn't that emperor have above his altar like a stuffed turtle that is diamond encrusted? They said, yeah. And doesn't that just sparkle? And every day the emperor, once a day, along with the people of the house, just stop and pay homage to this diamond encrusted turtle shell? And they said, yeah. And he said, now, see that turtle wagging its tail over there in the mud? Do you think for a moment he would trade his life for that one? You go tell that emperor of yours, I'm not trading mine either. But how often do we sell out so we can stand on the altar of our ego? Well, I got my ego in check because it's chained underneath the bed. No! You deal with the feelings and the senses and recognize there is value there, and I don't want to not step on to the altar or the pedestal because I've got my ego in check, but I want to be able to be free in my self-expression because I have let all of my concerns out. I have looked at them, and I've recognized I am not controlled by them. I'm not trying to keep them suppressed. What I've done is I've allowed that movement of life to carry it through me on out because I'm here to glorify God in my world. And I am here to be used by the Spirit. It's not God glorifying the human experience, right? So often we try to get God to glorify and do what it is I want. No, I am here to glorify God. God is God. Man is not glorify God. Spirit is expressing as you, is what Ernest talks about. It's expressing as you. It's not human is God. It's that Spirit is moving as you, through you. And what I want to do is begin to open up to that. I want to be able to recognize that Spirit's going to show up in my life when it needs to show up. I can't get all of God now. Remember the story of the goose with the golden egg? And the farmer's wife said, this is great, golden egg every day, but you know what? I want them all. So go kill that golden goose, or that goose that lays golden eggs, and bring it to me so I can have all the eggs now. And they found out, that's it. It's your golden eggs. No more daily dose of golden eggs. They're gone. You killed the goose that laid them. Well, sometimes we want all of God now. You can't get all of God now. Though you may be able to talk about it. I mean, they probably, professed about the goose that laid the golden egg, and you had spiritual guys talk about it, and then you got the atheist said there was no goose that laid golden eggs. And then you got the philosophers who said, how could an egg, which was golden, actually still remain an egg? And all this philosophy. Hey, can't you just get the metaphor here that, you don't need to be avarice. Just allow yourself to be in that place where the Spirit can show up in your life in the perfect way, at the perfect time, with the perfect stuff that you need. And that I don't need to be afraid of anything or even an aspect of myself. That Spirit is moving with an ease and grace because it is about movement. It is about motion. It's not about getting it all so I got it stored away for when I need it. Spirit's omnipresent. It's everywhere already. You got whatever it is you might need in the future already. And you don't have to know, you just have to know it. Get it? Good, because I can't repeat it. Baal Shem Tov, about 17th century, said the true test of real service of God is the lingering feeling of humility. Got that? It's that lingering feeling of humility. That's really the test of service. Not, look, I'm trying to get something. Not because I'm trying to be recognized. Not because I'm trying to work off penance and let little pieces of me out from under the bed. But because I'm just so moved to be in service and used by Spirit. Because life is movement. It is moving. And with that movement comes all that is necessary. That's the joy in your abundance that is ever present and ever possible. It's there for you to experience. The Spirit moves in your life and in your world. And when you begin to experience that in your meditations and in your prayer, that's great, isn't it? This means yes? Okay, I mean, you could go no too, but I'm just trying to check in to see, you know what that feels like when you just explode with that life and that light and that love and that joy and just merging with the whole, and it's wonderful. I want to meditate all day. I don't want to get up from my pillow. But you know what? That same kind of feeling shows up when you're doing your work. Or at least what I've noticed is it can show up when you're doing your classes. It can show up when you're doing your parenting even. See, that's the thing. What I've noticed is it's so great when I'm sitting here doing noonday meditation, but then I got to go up and do like stuff. But Spirit's is alive and doing that stuff as it is during the noonday meditation. I find stepping up here is just as exciting as it is sitting there with my eyes closed on the mountaintop waiting for some lion to show up in my world. You know, there's this aliveness that moves in our life. There is a congruency that is there. If I am not trying to move the universe, but I'm willing to be moved by it. Yes. Descartes said, I make a habit of changing myself or changing my desires rather than the order of the world. I make a habit of changing my desires rather than the order of the world. Rather than trying to change the world, trying to change God, what I want to do is allow that to move through me. What I want to do is allow that to move as me, through me, is me. And as I come to recognize, I'll come to know that nothing's been preordained. It isn't like preordained, this is what you're supposed to do for the rest of your life or what you're supposed to do tomorrow. Yes, effect follows cause, but you're not bound by that. At any moment, you can set a new cause in motion. You know, you're moving down this path in your life, this is what you're doing, and then all of a sudden, you decide you want to become a practitioner. You make that decision, and you're on a new track. Form follows consciousness. You decide all of a sudden, I want to go on and be a minister. Bless you. Well, this movement needs you. This world hungers for what it is you have. We are excited by what's going on here today. But what I want us to get is nothing is preordained. It's not preordained that you're going to be in a car accident or that you're going to get into a relationship and be miserable the rest of your life, or that some children are born in wonderful, happy homes with abundance and others are born in misery. There's nothing that is predestined. It is an unfoldment of consciousness. And that is either the truth across the board or it's not true at all. See, that's the thing with law, principle, or principle. It is true, yes, always, not sometimes yes, sometimes no. It's like God is in all things, and there's an order, there's a principle that says, you know, God is expressing as you, not God as you sometimes. God is here. It's not God and me. That's one too many. It's my consciousness is about to express here in ways that I need to take a look at. You know, if there's like a mountain building up or junk under the bed, I need to take a look at it. It's not as if it was preordained for me to struggle and be miserable. It's like, okay, this is the stuff in my life. I need to take a look at it. There was a young teenager. And I saw it was in a comic strip. I saw this. So this young teenager on this comic strip, he comes home, he opens his door, he goes into the living room, and there's his dad, you know, sitting in the nice easy chair reading the evening paper. And he says, "Hey, Dad, remember how you've told me that you always have told me that you know spiritual lessons can come out of bad experiences?" "Yeah." He said, "Dad, I just want you to get ready for some spiritual lessons because you're going to have a bad experience of Herb's Towing Collision Company and Abe's Insurance Car Company is going to be calling." It is a continuity. That's it, because life is movement, life is flow. It is flowing and it's showing up in this place and it's showing up in the next place. I've got a question for you to contemplate this week, and that is, do you believe that you would be an individual expression if you had not been incarnated in this human form? Do you believe in your individual expression if you had never been born here? You know, Ernest Holmes talks about he believes in the continuity of the individual soul. But here's the thing for you to contemplate. It doesn't matter if you do or you don't, but just something to think about. If you do believe that you are an individual expression, even if you had not incarnated in this world, then I would ask you to contemplate, what would you be doing? What would you be up to? I want you to think about that, because it will help you for when you check out of this place. You'll be greeted like, you ever get picked up at the airport by friends? It's like, friends, happy, okay, good to see you. Well, when you step over, nature provides for you in the same kind of way. It's not unusual. It's as common to leave this place as it is to come into it. I assure you that. And what is it you're going to do? I can't answer that for you. But I'll tell you, if you clean up the stuff under your bed while you're here, you're not going to have to clean it up before you sell this house. So I'm just here to remind you that life is about flow and that you get to decide how it flows. With ease and grace, the winds of heaven get to blow through your world. But to remember that no matter what, you are the one who gets to invite that something out of the darkness of your subjective. That's something that has lurked in your being that you didn't want to acknowledge, but you know that is there, that you have stepped on, that you have suppressed. But you know what? It's time to open up those windows of heaven. It's time to open up that wall that has denied the full expression of God to show up in your life. And as you do, what you will find is that you will walk through this world with a greater ease, a greater grace, and a greater sense of joyous abundance. God bless you. So love you.
Such a long way home from where you have been. And what will it take to bring you back again? And all your searching's brought you to this place. You cry for mercy and you long for grace. Feel the love, feel the light. Won't you come in from the cold? 'Cause all are welcome here. Feel the joy, feel the peace, and the comfort of home. 'Cause all are welcome here. Yes, all are welcome here. Can you hear the sound, the whisper in your soul? It calls you back to where you belong. And all your searching's brought you to this place. You cry you to this place. You cry for mercy and you long for grace. Feel the love, feel the light. Won't you come in from the cold? 'Cause all are welcome here. Feel the joy, feel the peace, and the comfort of home. 'Cause all are welcome here. Yes, all are welcome here. Here.
All Are Welcome Here, from the album Path of Light, was co-written by Peggy Lebo and Reverend Christian Sorensen. It's available at www.peggylebo.com.